Hello and welcome to episode 58 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and Mark, a man who can turn even the most mundane and apathetic pursuits into a competition. It's a chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, and matters of national importance, like how far a stack of £37 billion of crisp 20s will go into space. I'd like to see what podcast is providing those kind of pearls.
None.
No.
I checked them all.
And they're not.
No.
all of it. You have been busy this week. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness. That was a good one.
That's your highest, yeah.
Thanks. Then our work here is done. Make sure you subscribe to us in your podcast app and follow us on the socials by searching for I'm Finecast. Join us on Instagram if you can. Pop in and say hi. Just people do that, don't they? Just drop in, have a coffee. Yeah? No?
On radio stations or people in
Just
life?
Yeah, life, don't they? Hey, pop in. It's like, agencies do that.
If you're around.
On their contact page. Hey, just drop by for a coffee. It's like, no busy agency wants people randomly dropping in for a coffee.
No.
You know what I mean? Unless you're spending, a couple of mil.
Yeah.
Piss off. Don't know where that came from. So, coming up in this episode, warm up and stretch, our usual catch up and bookmarks.
Yep.
Yeah? You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Work-life ballet.
You're just a bit... You've got a lot of energy, I think.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
Work-life ballet, how it started and how it's going.
The
meme of 2020.
Yeah.
And brain food, actual food stuff.
Yeah.
As Mark takes us through some of his favourite recipes. I put that in knowing full well you probably haven't got.
We sort of shifted into like this morning, haven't we?
Yeah.
Lego bird tables.
Yeah, I know your favourite recipe. Well, you've been sending me pictures of like just things you've been cooking and they've been looking delicious. So I just thought,
okay,
you might want to talk us through some of those things. I don't know what you've got. You've got something, but I don't know what you've... I'm just putting that in. I like kind of see your face go, oh shit, I haven't got that ready.
Because you didn't tell me it's there.
It's in the thing.
No, I know, but that's assuming that I'm going to read them.
You've even written some after my thing, which proves you've been in the vicinity.
Yeah. When I was writing my fairy tale at 2:30 this morning, I decided to have a little delve.
Very good.
A little elf.
A little elf.
Just thinking
a little D elf.
Yeah.
Is that in this one? Your fairy tale?
I don't know. Doesn't matter where it is, really. It can go in.
Yeah, I wasn't going to tease it.
No.
But you just have yourself. You've written a fairy tale.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, like I said to you, I honestly...
That was a classic text this morning.
I honestly don't know whether you're going to look at me when I read it out and go, why the fuck did you stay up till 2:30 doing that? Or go, I really enjoyed that.
But 2:30, it's probably absolutely Bobby, wasn't it? You were just writing it going, this is just gushing me out. I've just become the new Shakespeare.
I'll just show you very quickly. So that's first page, which looks like a, proper written script.
Yeah, it looks like a manuscript, yeah.
And then you get to the little late. This is the 2:30 page.
Yeah, it's looking a bit thin on the ground.
Just random words.
But it's good if it's one of those cold light of day things. You get up and have a little look and you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Yeah, at 2:30 it made me laugh.
Gone from bard to bullshit.
Basement,
bard to... No, it didn't work.
No.
Also in Mailbag, we have some life hacks. Hopefully you got some home genie tips for us.
Yeah.
So I can slag them off like I did last week. You can eat that.
I'm not. I was just about to and I can't.
It looks delicious though. Do you want to have a little... You can have a bite if you're hungry.
I'll wait.
Do you want in the break?
Patience a virtue.
It made me laugh. Me eating that.
Yeah. Slightly discomfortable.
Disgusting and uncomfortable.
That's interesting,
discomfortable.
Actually. Discomfort, but uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why is it not uncomfort? I had a sense of uncomfort, but you wouldn't. You'd say discomfort, but you don't say, I feel a bit discomfortable.
Yeah, you're right. Interesting, that one. Thanks for your text this week. This is inserting my positive statement here.
Okay.
Thank you. It was very kind of you to send texts of just, hope it's all going and wishing me well.
Right. Okay.
Can't remember what day you wished, you said hope.
Several times, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Just...
Maybe two.
Yeah.
But
bombarded you. From bard to bombard.
But it was really nice. I was just saying thanks. Yeah, thanks for doing that. It was a really nice thing to do.
Good. I'm glad you appreciated it.
Yeah, I did.
And so how are things in answer to those texts on that subject? Have you...
Gets to that, one of those last couple of weeks have ended on a Friday with a couple of what I've...
Traditionally.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to go off piece.
Yeah.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah, it's Wednesday. Welcome to the weekend.
That's what I'm aiming towards, like a 3-day
Who
work.
invented the 5-2?
5 to what?
the 5-2 ratio. Where did that ever come about? Did we discuss this before?
No, I don't think we have.
We mentioned it because you were saying about Sunday being the day of rest.
Was I?
Mm.
So I probably did say it.
We were just saying about that God didn't do on the 7th, he rested, wasn't it? We were trying to work out.
Allegedly, yeah.
I just think it's a strange... Who sat down and went, right, Monday to Friday?
So
I know working weeks are different now. And
was Saturday and Sunday always a weekend?
And why is it 2 days? And
were they always at the end? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then back in the day, it used to be you could choose
Wednesday might have been at the
Sunday
end.
Or Monday as your starting day of the week in diaries.
You still can on the computer.
Yeah.
Start of the week, Sunday or Monday. That's weird, isn't it? Wednesday might have been the beginning of the week. It's just all shifted. Doesn't matter anyway, does it?
No.
It's all construct.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're all right? You okay?
Still.
Good. No, I haven't asked you yet.
You did at the beginning.
No, I didn't. I just said thank you for your text.
All right.
That's the whole point of this. I don't ask you how you are anymore. I just insert a positive comment.
Okay. Well, thank you for your positive comment. And I'm pleased I'm here. I'm pleased I'm here.
Yeah.
As we'll discuss, maybe.
Well, have you had a near-death experience?
Well, the pod has.
Oh, right. I see. Sorry. Right. Okay. Well, maybe we can. I hadn't thought about bringing that in.
I think I did put it in the notes that I wanted to.
Did
you? Mm.
Oh, there are
the
a
wise
couple
mind. The wise mind, but I think it's really important,
okay,
personally.
Cool. Okay. I'll put it in the next one. But
can I just say, this is an interesting thought. Common Sense Committee?
Yeah, it's us two, isn't it?
Yeah.
Looking for members.
I don't want anyone else. Here's the thing. Beginning of a football match.
Yeah.
Toss a coin, and the person that
wins
decides
which end
or to have kick-off. You can choose either.
Right.
Not everyone knows
can't have both.
Can't have both.
Right. So you can choose to kick off, and if you choose to kick off, the opposition choose which end.
Yeah.
Right.
And you see, you could go, oh, we'll have kick-off.
Yeah.
And the opposition go, oh, we'll play this way round in the first half. And you go, yeah, got them. That's exactly what I wanted.
Right. Or not.
Or not. Most teams would choose the ends because there's a lot more to be gained on which way you play.
So playing into your stand in the second half, for example.
Exactly. It's traditionally seen, but
yeah,
based
as
on
an
nothing.
advantage. Well, no, it's not. But I guess it's an advantage, isn't it?
Well, why couldn't it be an advantage? We'll play towards your main.
Well, it depends whether
end.
you're a defensive or attacking team. If you're, fans encourage you the goals in the first half and then just defend, park the bus in the second half.
Yeah.
So it depends on your style.
But how naive is that? Is to think, well, just for people that can't understand, we're not making this very clear. When you choose ends, you do it for several reasons. One factor could be the sun in your eyes. One factor could be the wind behind you. Mm-hmm. It could be the rain. It could be in the...
Yeah.
But,
or in the old days, which way the pitch slopes.
Yes, definitely.
I used to play on all sorts of dodgy pitches.
Yeah. And the other factor is that most teams, I think Liverpool are a key one on this, it'll always be if someone wins the toss and they'll try and get it so they're not kicking towards the Kop in the second half. So there's this sort of understanding that the home side wants to play towards the most vociferous end of the ground, supporting them in the second half.
Yeah.
What is that based on?
Well,
You've got 45 minutes.
It's not based on science, but instinctively, I would say I'd want to play towards my fans in the second half.
I totally agree.
I don't know why.
No.
No, I've never really thought about it, but no, that's what I'd want to do.
But it's the same amount of time. It's 45 minutes either way. You might think if we play towards them in the first half and they encourage us and we go 2-0 up.
But I think there's an element of you almost want to get the first half out the way.
I know, but all this is bollocks, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
But this leads to my other question is, why in the name of Pele do we toss a coin at the beginning of a match? What a totally ridiculous... So what we're doing is we've got people...
Wait, okay, go on.
So you take your Premiership match.
Yeah.
You've got people earning tens of millions.
There we go.
A year. No, not anti that. We've got...
Is that relevant?
Yes.
Okay.
We've got television cameras in every corner. Yeah. We've got worldwide audiences of millions bringing in revenue.
You think all the technology and all the Hawkeye and all the VAR.
Yeah. Everything is down to the infinite detail. And someone comes with a coin. Is it just a coin that basically, this is my lucky farthing, so he gets it out? We don't even know whether the coin...
I reckon it's a Premiership.
I don't think they have a Premiership coin. I think they bring their own.
Well, it's just
random
whatever
coin.
they find in the changing rooms.
And one of them might always end on heads. We never check it. I've never seen a coin checked by...
Have we ever... Because they do... I think do they all... This is all your homework, I think. Because I'm not.
I know exactly. Can I just say I know exactly what you're going to say before you speak?
Go on.
You're going to say when they flick it, do they turn it over and put it on the back of their hands?
Yeah, which I've seen them do.
And then take their hand
or
off.
Or they just let it drop on the floor.
They let it drop on the floor.
Then is that a standard Premiership protocol?
Yes.
Or does no one give a shit about this bit?
No.
Therefore, what is the whole point of it?
But if it lands on a muddy pitch...
Oh, it could land on its
side,
side,
at an angle.
it?
So if it's more than a certain angle...
If it's bang on 50-50, do they toss again?
Yeah, or even 60-40, you could see there being an argument and VAR having to be brought in.
I don't ever see it.
Drawing a line.
Yeah, where the coin landed.
Yeah. So my point is this.
I thought it was an interesting question.
So
this has become an interesting debate.
So the debate goes one step further, is that in the Premiership they play 38 matches, 19 at home, 19 away, to save something that is luck and chance and could result...
Oh, we've talked about that.
Yeah. We could result in a team losing their Premiership status on the toss of a coin when they've invested in millions of pounds of science.
You just said it doesn't matter either way a minute ago. Now you're saying it does matter.
No. What I'm saying is we don't know what effect it has.
No, you never will. You can't measure it, can you?
No, we can't measure it, but it will have some bearing on the outcome.
But you used to be a betting man and a bookie.
So what I'm saying is every home team chooses. We don't have to have a referee tossing a coin. We don't have to have chance. We just go, you're the home team, you trust. And they'll go, we'll kick towards our supporters in the second half. So 19 matches, you have the advantage. 19 matches, the other team.
Okay, but which?
It's simple. It's effective. It saves time. It's fair. It's scientific. Why do we toss a coin?
Because it's Jep. Ooh, which way's it going to go? Ooh.
Well, why don't they do best of three? Or rock, paper, scissors?
Oh, that's a good one.
Arm wrestling, slapping, Russian slapping. Who's got the biggest feet? Do you know what I mean? It could be, couldn't
it? Yeah, anyway. There's so much to absorb. I don't know where to start.
I've been meaning to chat that one for a while. Anyway.
Yeah, it would have been good on the luck episode, but just bring about 3 episodes later.
I have been a lot more than 3, isn't it? That was a long time.
Oh, I don't know. You're not an abacus, am I?
No, you're not.
Can I get anything else before we?
Nope.
Okay, I'm sure that will be
not a thing. No more interruptions
not
today.
Right now.
No.
The John Cooper.
Lips are sealed.
Don't.
I won't.
You tinker. You're a tinker today.
I'm not. Not a peep.
John Cooper documentary, Russian Spy. Thanks to Russian Spy for the tip off. But I don't know whether she said it was on Netflix. Well, you definitely did.
She told me it was on.
Well, she got it wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
I can take her on. It's fine.
Welcome to the salt mine. Welcome to the gulag.
Because I spent a lot of time on Netflix. I was getting quite frustrated the other night.
Yeah.
Looking, it wasn't there. But I found it on ITV.
Okay.
Is that someone hammering?
Someone in your basement, isn't it? Trying to get out.
It's called the Pembrokeshire Murders: Catching the Game Show Killer, and it's on ITV. Links will be in our show notes. There you go. Just a little. Everyone's going, I can't find it on Netflix. Like I was. Retro Sweets is a bit of a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I can't listen back to it. It started. I have to flick through it. I don't know why. I'm sure. So I actually don't think I've listened to it through properly yet.
No.
Have you? You have?
I've listened to it once, yeah. Well, when you do the edit, I listen, so I just wait. So whatever time of night it is, I listen.
Is that what you do every episode?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
But it was. It sort of worked, but only by the skin of our teeth.
I don't know. I dare listen back.
No.
I just did the edit and just hope it all worked.
Yeah,
but
it was a pick and mix, wasn't it?
You sent me something interesting off the back of that, Mark, about Chupa Chups and Dali.
Yes.
Just going to find it.
First the ocelot.
Yeah. In 1969, Dali was approached to design a new Chupa Chups logo, and the result became as instantly recognisable as his melting clocks. Dali incorporated the Chupa Chups name into a brightly coloured daisy shape. Always keenly aware of branding, Dali suggested that the logo be placed on top of the lolly so that it could always be seen intact.
Yeah.
No, I never knew that. I didn't really know he did any graphic design jobs, really, but I'm probably did loads.
That's one of the things, surely, that Salvador Dali, famous.
Yeah.
Chupa Chups, famous.
Yeah.
Like, you think we would have heard that.
Yeah.
Did you see the design?
Yeah, it's cool.
And the one they've now changed?
Oh, no.
His original 1969.
Well, you just sent me a screenshot, didn't you? You didn't send me... You sent me a screenshot, which I could see the logo.
I think the top
logo
left.
designlove.com.
Yeah, the top left one is his original.
In a world where you can send links, I'm not going to type that in, all right?
I'm old school.
Yeah. Sorry, the top one.
I think it's top left.
Just what says Chups.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, it was interesting. You're right.
Yeah. You'll be delighted to hear that 4 new particles have been found at CERN on the Hadron Collider. And they say they could crack the secrets of nature's laws. I've looked into it. Not a clue.
What, you've read it, you mean?
Oh, yeah. I've read it about 5 times.
Yeah.
Not a Scooby.
Mm.
I'll keep going at it.
Yeah.
And when I understand it, I'll try and cover it.
I'm doing the same on Free Will at the moment. So, like
Free Willy, it's a good film, that. Which one? 1 or 2? 2 was a bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, he shouldn't have got called a second time.
No, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, well, they freed him in the first one.
Yeah, that's what's coming to him, didn't they?
Can't actually... Right. It's a whale. So, sorry, you're watching Free Willy, what?
No, Free Will.
Oh.
I don't totally understand it, so I've been listening to try and understand it, and I still don't understand it.
Did Sam Harris kick that off by any chance? Because
he's done another monologue. It's even longer than my...
than yours?
What's
14 minutes?
Mine wasn't 12, was it? That's the first time I've ever
monologued
under-delivered on a monologue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been listening to the Ricky Gervais ones. I've finished now, but they were talking about free will and that.
Yeah, I want to learn. I'm hungry.
Are you? There's a pastel. Do you want the pastel donato? Oh, right. Okay, sorry. I'm just going to take the mood down a little bit. NASA have been kind of crunching their numbers, as they do.
Yeah.
A team of researchers working at NASA have finally figured out when the sun's going to burn off and all the oxygen on our planet, thus destroying all life on Earth.
Right. Am I going to have to eat this pastry now?
Just hear me out.
Okay.
By their calculation, it will happen somewhere around the year, oh crikey, 1,002,021. I've probably got that. I don't think I've ever read a number like that before.
I think I was going to go away.
You are?
So I was just looking at my calendar, but...
Oh, right. Have you got anything planned for then?
I did, but if the sun's going...
Right, yeah.
It was Magaluf.
If you're still on the waiting list for Hamilton tickets, you may need to plan accordingly. It's hilarious, isn't it? We find that future deoxygenation is an inevitable consequence of increasing solar fluxes, whereas its precise timing is modulated by the exchange flux of reducing power between the mantle and the ocean atmosphere crust system. You keeping up?
Yeah.
This, of course, is the opposite of human-induced climate change. It's relatively easy to predict when the sun will destroy our planet because the sun's on a fairly steady arc. The current climate crisis, as overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree, is unnatural and stands as the aberration when you compare against data representing the 2.5 billion years our planet had an atmosphere before humans showed up. So the bad news is that our planet's likely to become uninhabitable long before the sun suffocates all of the Earth's plant life and then burns off its atmosphere. But the good news is... that if we're smart enough to solve our current problems, we've got another billion years to figure out how to stabilise the star that gave us life. So, a bit of balance there, isn't there?
Yeah. Good news, bad news.
Yeah, like day and night, sun, day, never mind. You've got a bookmark here.
Go on then.
Saying thank you,
No
including
idea.
AI.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So I've done this. It's terrible. I've got to have reminders to do it. I've done this on a few occasions and I want to do it again. And that is to say thank you to people that are listening to this, because I've realised I've had quite bits of feedback this week. And because I've been thinking a lot about the pod, the fact that people actively refer to things they've heard or, reference things or make a comment. I think maybe in my sort of 2:30 in the morning.
So you're getting all emotional.
Yeah.
All emotion.
Was just how, I guess, how humbling that is. Not in terms of like gratifications, like, oh, everyone thinks I'm funny, or thinks you're funny, or think this is brilliant, or think we're clever.
Yeah, because they don't say that.
No, they don't. Yeah,
Let's just clear that one
that's
up right.
That's just a list of possible words that people might like to use. It's completely up to you.
Free will, right?
Yeah. Do you want to go through those words again? So, no, the point I was making, it was to say thank you. And it was to say, you said something a while ago, and at the time it didn't resonate with me quite as much as it does now. And you said, like, people giving their attention. And it came up on the course today. And it was really interesting that the woman taking the course was saying about when people are distracted and not paying attention to a conversation, one tends to then remove yourself. So you'll be talking, the other person is like looking around or looking at their phone. And she was saying what often happens is the person doing the conversation will then go in their head like, well, fuck it. They're not even listening.
Yeah.
And she said in some ways you might think the natural conclusion would be they're distracted, they're not paying attention, so I need to try harder to bring them into the conversation. And you don't. It's like you can't be bothered to listen.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah. So that made me just think about attention. And I just thought the fact that people listen to this and spend the amount of time they do and are then able to reference things they've heard, which shows they've been listening and paying attention. It was just a thank you. And I just think it's humbling that people give us their time. So that was number one. So the second thing was saying please and thank you to AI. So this is...
right.
Did a bit of reading and there are 2 lines of thought on this. One line of thought is, and it's even been brought in, I think it started in the States, that basically if you don't say please and thank you to Alexa and Siri, you don't get an answer. It can be set in such a way that you have to.
But you have to say, so say you go, hey Google, what's the weather like tomorrow?
In Bristol tomorrow, there will be scattered showers with a high of 9 and a low of 7.
Thank you. See, nothing happens. So you have to go, hey Google, thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Right.
Cheers, mate.
Is
this the Bristol version?
Cheers, my lover. Sorry, that was just because I've been thinking about that this week as well, randomly.
Okay.
That you can't kind of have the typical conversation. It won't recognise or still be recording. But maybe Alexa's different.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think it is.
If you go, oh, thanks for that, and it's still recording, expecting that kind of Q&A bit.
Yeah. No, I think it does on one. I don't have either of them, but I think one or other of Alexa and Siri
setting on Google I haven't found yet.
Could be.
Would you like P's and Q's? I don't know.
So it made me think, and I think it doesn't hurt.
So someone was saying that if you don't kind of thank AI, it won't be as effective. Is that what you're...
I think something had happened in the States where someone had fiddled with the settings and basically... either for their kids or for themselves or something, if you weren't polite and asked in a nice way,
that's cool.
It basically sort of, I didn't do anything, or like, do you want to ask that again? Became the response. Someone just fiddled with the software.
Do you want to rephrase your question?
You what? At the time when I heard it, I thought, yeah, that's right, because it's consolidating habits. You should, I think pleases and thank yous are really important. And then I read something that went, we shouldn't get our children to thank AI. And they said a lot of parents would say, we want to encourage, blah, 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 blah. And the point it was making, which we might go into in future, this was only going to be like a 1 minute, was a lot of children now will have grown up with AI and Alexa and Siri being commonplace.
Yeah.
And therefore, what they were saying is if it gets to the point where their interaction with them almost becomes as if they're human.
Yeah, they can't distinguish the two. Is that worse place to be than them understanding it is artificial intelligence?
So that was the point that this article said, that was like, it's know your place. If you get too friendly with AI, then you can't distinguish it from people, sort of thing. And there was a voice-activated system that was set up by an American company. That was taken off the market, and the reason it was taken off the market, it was aimed at children.
Oh, okay.
So it would read them stories, it would teach them, and it would give them reminders, and basically it would become your virtual friend. And it was taken off the market because it was felt it was actually replacing adults, and that could have quite an unhealthy situation. But it did make me think, because we talked a while ago about the fact that AI might, as it becomes more and more sophisticated, might be able to have feelings and intonations and subtleties that it doesn't currently have. And the AI creating AI will be able to, invest more of that into the AI it creates.
Yeah. Yeah, that was on Sam Harris as well, wasn't it? He kind of mentioned it briefly, I think, with the Ricky Gervais stuff, that there is that school, a bit like the monkeys and the typewriters, in an infinite amount of time. Yeah. If there's enough time, there will be a point where AI and human is
indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's only time.
Yeah.
Time is only going to make that better.
But we don't need infinite time for that. We only need a few years.
Yes, I guess that's the point. The point. It will just get better and better and better. It won't get to a point where it'll just plateau.
Well, in the 30 weeks of these podcasts, we were talking about AI, not really knowing anything about it. And in 30 weeks, we've been looking at those.
And know more about it.
Well, we don't know, but which is the worrying thing. Those things with Tom Cruise the other day.
Oh, yeah. They're good.
And everyone's going, oh, these are really scary. And it's like, but this is happening every day.
Program.
Yeah. And I know sometimes I've sent a couple of videos on Joe Biden and you've gone, is this real? And I'm assuming it is, but anyway, so that was just it. It was just about manners with AI. Cool. So
I've got a couple of things that are grinding my gears, Mark, at the moment, and I'd like to share them with you. Need to get them off my chest. Yep. So Fat DJ Tony, what?
Yeah.
You're looking at, have I got his name right? DJ Fat Tony.
Yeah.
I had this up yesterday, but this has been something that's been bothering me.
I think it's going to be the same thing
Is
that
it the
bothers
people
me.
who hold their mobile phones horizontally in front of their mouths when they and
I
have the
agree with
speakerphone
that.
on? What are they doing? I see people doing it
Oh,
in
yeah,
cars.
do you agree with it? Phew.
What?
Yeah, I thought you were going to question it and go, that's how I use my phone.
Absolutely not. I think everyone should be shot who does that.
It looks like they're eating a piece of Rivita, doesn't it?
Just getting it close to the lips and not
Yeah.
quite eating it.
Yeah.
I swear it comes from The Apprentice.
Yes.
They started to do that on The
yes.
Apprentice years ago in the back of the taxi because basically the production company have gone, you can just hold it so we can hear the conversation.
Yeah.
So they hold it like that. But people walk around on their own like that.
Yes.
One, I don't want to hear the other person. I don't want to hear a conversation. I don't want to hear what the other person's saying. And does the other person know that whatever they're saying is
Being
audible
broadcast.
for everybody who
Yeah.
walks past? Just use it like a fucking telephone, right? What's the matter with people? Or are they worried about brain radiation and reporters asking stupid questions?
Oh, I wanted to.
We have covered this already,
that person
haven't we?
should be actually put in prison.
Is this the person?
I know what you're going to say. I know.
When Prince
Yep,
William
yep.
and Kate were walking past him,
Yeah.
the reporter said, "Sir,
Yes.
is the royal family a racist family, sir?" What do you think the answer is going to be to that?
He
was
deserves to
everyone
be
just
locked in
like,
the Tower of London.
What's he gonna say? What's he gonna say?
But some of
I
the-
really wanted him to turn around and go, "Yes, we are racist," and just walk off.
But Twitter actually Twitter's headline was something along the edge of, was it William? He
Yeah.
asked,
Yeah, what was it?
Something like, Prince William clarifies
The
royal family position.
Yeah.
It's like his
all
official
the
statement.
headlines, but yeah, the royal family's not racist. According,
Yeah.
it's like, what did you think he was going to say? But of course, he has to say something. You know,
No,
of
you
course
just
it's
go
not.
back and just grab him by the collar and
Well, do you reckon he just could have pointed to one of his?
get a beef eater.
So he's one of police protection. Just went him. Gone.
Laters. Yeah,
Double tap in the back of the head. Honestly, it's
yeah.
it's so disrespectful, isn't it?
That's beyond late. I
'Cause if he-
think
'cause if
that
he
should be a
hadn't-
criminal offence.
Because if he hadn't said anything,
Then you are racist.
yeah, you're not denying it. It's just like, oh God, give the guy a break.
Do you believe in cannibalism?
Yeah,
No, I don't.
but they're all at it, aren't they? Because we talked on.
Do your grandchildren go up the chimney? No, none of this happens.
It's just
Do you pick your nose? Neat it? Sometimes.
but they'd be more amusing, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But imagine being that person who has to ask that question.
Yeah.
Or
Good
you
day
went
at
down
work,
there,
Glenn.
right? You come back and they go, "So, what did you ask him? Did you ask him?" No, I couldn't do it. What do you mean you couldn't do it? It's your job. I didn't want to. It's disrespectful.
Yeah.
You're fired.
Yeah, I heard that. That's beyond lazy though, isn't it?
Yeah, and I got stopped going into Tesco's.
Permanently.
I've only just got the ban lifted. No, I went to little Tesco's Express and
Little Tesco's Express.
just what's the matter with you?
Well, just
Let me
because
tell the story. They're normally littler than the big ones,
Yeah.
right?
the point I was going to make is can you do the order?
What?
Can you do the gradations of size for Tesco?
Yeah, I can. I just haven't got time
Okay.
or the inclination right now. So I went to Tesco Express.
Mm.
Sometimes there has been a queue outside because of the post office is in there as well. And,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's a bit confusing as to whether that's the queue for the post office
Mm.
or whatever. There's no queue. Got there. The security guard went,
Halt.
"Please stop."
Yeah.
I went, "Why?" And he said, because I looked in, hardly anyone in there. He went, "There's too many people in here." I was like, and I did that looking around. I went, right, okay. Anyway, so a customer started to walk out, and I thought, right, I know how this works. One in, one out. So I went without the guy telling me.
Yeah.
And then kind of, I thought that's quite rebellious. What do you think?
Yeah. I would have just walked in anyway.
Because I bet he was dying to go, "Oh, come on." And it's his job, isn't it?
Yeah. And then what?
I went in,
Yeah.
and I thought, "Oh, where is everyone?" And I
Yeah.
looked down a couple of aisles, and it's like no one here. There was more staff in there than customers.
Hmm.
So if the limit's 10, right,
Yeah.
and there's 9 staff,
Yeah.
is there only
that's
one
true.
customer going at a time?
Judging by your story, yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay for me to go in and then me to go and huddle with another 3 or 4 people down the end of an aisle.
Did you?
Because the aisles are tight in the smaller Tesco's. You get
Yeah.
down there and you're literally rubbing shoulders. It's like you've stopped me from a safety
Any
point.
physical contact in a pandemic.
Yeah, but it's like if this is about safety and numbers and not getting too close to anyone else,
Yeah.
4 customers can go and huddle around, looking at the cucumbers, can't they?
Well, they should do it on
Do you know what I
times
mean?
then, shouldn't they? Like on Supermarket Sweep.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's not about how many people are in there because we could all go and stand right next to each other.
Yeah.
So it's pointless. Right, should we get on?
Yeah.
We talked about doing the how it started versus how it's going.
Yeah.
Now this meme feels like it's been going longer, but it was only kind of started in September 2020.
Okay. Although I guess it was preceded
Twitter
by transformation pictures and glow-ups, wasn't it? Glow-ups been quite a thing.
Well, it went from the first person to September 23rd, 2020, a meme started on Twitter. This is mainly based on Twitter. And there was a girl called Mel on Twitter. She put up a picture of a text argument she had with a mate, and it said how it started. And the second picture, how it ended, where they'd actually got together, these two girls. So that became an item. So that was what kicked it all off. And then since then, people have obviously used it for all sorts of, as you say, all sorts of reasons, whether that is body transformation or career, or here's me as a baby and here's me now. You know, lots of famous people have done it as well. Yeah. Biden's actually used it himself.
Has he?
And I guess there's obviously a lot of, hey, look, I was once a nothing, good for nothing lowlife with no friends, and now look at me. Mm-hmm. You know, I've made friends, lost 30 kilos, and I now work for NASA. I have a smoking hot partner. Yeah. And then there's also people who do the opposite. Yeah. Who say, I used to have a smoking hot partner. I used to have a job at NASA. I've put on 30 kilos. I've lost all my friends, and now I'm a good for nothing. And I think we've kind of touched on it before, but I was thinking, well, where would we start if we wanted to do something like that? It's not something I'd actually do on social. But then I started to think, how would I represent me in a how it started versus how it's going? Would I just go, here's me as a baby, and here's me as a 40-foot... How old am I? 44? 44-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, and this was used a lot in psychology and things. It's like, if I was going on a journey, I wouldn't start here, that sort of idea. I think my answer to what you've just said is whichever picture or words you use to describe your first position will determine the relevance of the. So if for example you were doing something, I've got a client at the moment who is making fantastic, just the one. I've got clients at the moment who are making fantastic progress, and if they took a picture 6 months ago, then you could see that transformation, and that's a very clear and simplistic thing, isn't it? Yeah. But there could be things around, like the fact I'm wearing hats permanently now isn't just my love of hats; it's my sheer disgust
the love
and
of a warm head.
Sorry?
Love of a warm head?
No, just to hold this bloody hair. It's ridiculous, my hair.
Go on.
No, you're not.
Well, we're both wearing hats, Mark. Should we just both reveal together?
You doing something doesn't... No.
Oh, just for fun. Because on an audio medium, this will be hilarious.
No, once seen it. You can't unsee my hair if I take my hat off.
You see my state of mine?
Yeah. I described your hair as liquid hair the other day to someone.
Liquid hair?
Yeah.
Are you discussing my hair with anyone? Well, how do you even get onto that? Do you know what I mean?
I said I thought it was about 8 inches high, and they said that was really high. It probably isn't.
Again,
8 inches
how did you
high.
even get to it? I don't even want to know who you were talking to, but did someone go, oh, hi, how's Dave Only's hair? Do you know what I mean?
And I went 8 inches. Still ginger.
So
anyway, so the start and finish.
Honestly, your hair's. I can see your sideburns anyway. I can see your chops.
No, we're just moving on. So it's going to be the start that is going to determine whether your how it's going picture is positive or negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. Or the subject. I'm going to show you my hair.
It's not 8 inches, is it?
Look at that.
It's still liquidy.
That's what they'll say. It's always the response.
Don't you think it's liquidy?
Liquidy? I don't
Do you know what I mean
by
liquidy?
No, I don't know what you mean. Come on, I've shown you mine. You show me yours. What you say? This is a circle of trust. What are you so embarrassed about?
Don't want to show you my hair.
For reasons of what? Embarrassment? Are you embarrassed?
I wouldn't say I'm embarrassed.
Do you feel it doesn't, kind of go with the rest of your
image? Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're not saying that.
Okay, fine.
Where are we going to go with it?
I think you look good with long hair. You ever had long hair? Been an anarchist?
I've had unruly hair. I told you when I didn't wash it for months.
Yeah,
I did.
Did you get dreads?
I tried to get dreads.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Is this when you were hanging out in the black communities?
The ghetto, yeah. Well, no, actually.
So is that cultural appropriation acceptable when you're hanging?
Not now, no.
No, but even if you were literally living, in an area where all your friends were.
So
is it a dodgy subject?
It isn't a dodge. Well, no, it wasn't there.
But you know what I'm saying? If you grew up in a
multicultural society,
okay, in a multicultural area, for example, you were probably the minority, being a white man there.
The majority of people.
And when you were growing up, you talked about the guy you used to train with.
Yeah,
you were hanging around with West Indians, I guess. Are they West Indian descent?
They were generally probably second generation.
Yeah, if you were hanging and you were just kind of thought I'd grow dreads, but none of them took the hump.
No, but the only reason I've been hesitant is the most ridiculous reason in the world. I think
it's not really a thing.
It's
but
not
people
a
have made it a thing.
So what happened
that's
was...
That's what I'm getting to.
In 1980, I was following punk music. Punk music had a fantastic... And I saw an interview with Pauline Black from the Selector, and she was saying ska music became a very, very vibrant musical form. And she actually said in her little chat when she was being interviewed, and it had elements of punk, and it did. Like literally, I would go and see the Clash on Thursday, and the Specials or Selector or the Beat or whatever on the Friday, and you'd see the same crowd, and it was the most culturally diverse.
Except reggae, because pretty much
reggae,
ska
totally.
is reggae and punk in my definition is
definitely
it's a mixture of the two,
and very much based in the industrial Midlands. Talking about some of the lyrics on the Specials were like they were a social commentary. I mean, Too Much Too Young from the Specials is just totally about, things you probably couldn't say now, but at the time were so right. Yeah. And the reason I think where there's some reticence in my voice is now I just don't want to say what I did then, because then there wasn't one element of it that was wrong. So what happened was I went to a school that had a lot of black people. I was listening to music that was linked to black music and black culture. Yeah. The betting shop I worked within, I would say the punters were probably 95.
But even the way you're describing it now is probably not the way you thought about it then.
No,
you were just living in an area and listened to music you liked and had some friends, had different colour skin. It wasn't even a thing.
It wasn't.
And it shouldn't be a thing.
And so
it's now become a thing now, isn't it? When you look back, everyone's referencing what happened. To that, it's like, hold on, you can't.
And part of being young and growing up in the musical culture at the time it was, I got books about Rastafarianism and thought, I want to learn about this and I want to learn about Ethiopia and learn about where it came from and when and then because there were so many things going around then in terms of, I mean, that's almost going back to your thought that this is how it started and, this is where we're at sort of thing. So it started then that you would have, and we've mentioned this before, you would walk into a shopping centre and you would have these groups of people who had their separate identity, mostly youth, but had this crossover that although there was, especially down at the bank holidays, there was, especially around skinheads and rockers and things like that, there was some
there's always
violence.
Been that through history, isn't it? Tribalism.
Yeah. But generally it was, and this is a overused term, but it was a sort of melting pot. And I don't think people were aware of race as being such a predeterminate for everything you said and did. Yes. It was just there. We had riots in Bristol.
How it should be, which is amazing.
Yeah. And there were riots, and they were called race riots in Bristol and in Toxteth and Liverpool. But I can remember being around on the nights when that happened, and somehow, I don't know, I don't quite know what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is now it's ridiculous that now I've got some hesitancy reporting what I did in that time. I think, because in that time, not one person was offended that I didn't wash my hair for months. Not one person, I was going to blues parties. I was, there wasn't any, it wasn't questioned. Yeah. And that's not to say there wasn't racism and there wasn't lack of opportunity, but it didn't become the be-all and end-all of every single person's conversation.
Almost like someone sitting around waiting for you
to slip up as well.
Yeah.
And the number of people I've seen, I mean, I know Twitter isn't representative, but will go, I noticed you said so-and-so, so-and-so instead of so-and-so, so-and-so. It's like, I can't keep up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's, if there's bigger battles to fight than, I mean, I don't mean language in terms of using totally inappropriate ones, but...
I wanted to bring this up. I didn't know whether I was going to, but I'll put it in now anyway because it feels relevant. I won't dwell on it because it's not what we're going to dwell on. But when Meghan Markle talked about the skin colour in her interview, for me, which I think a lot of people have failed to pick up on, is the word concern that she used. Yeah. And then, of course, our friend Nicholas Witchell has gone, quite frankly, it was a witless remark by one of the royals. And everyone's gone, witless? Don't you mean racist? Their arguments. I'm not saying I wasn't there. I was no one was there apart from those two people by the sounds of it. So how can we even comment? Yeah. But what kind of made me think of in terms of a conversation around skincare, we've had this chat, haven't we, this week?
Yes, I just suddenly realised we've had this chat. Yeah.
And I don't know whether you reference some of your history in terms of, or just try to put ourselves in their shoes, that almost having a conversation about, if you've got interracial couples or whatever, then I guess having an innocent conversation about the colour of their skin is a curiosity and an inquisitiveness rather than a prejudice.
But
They can be very different things, but then you can kind of you've got to be very careful. I've got to be very careful what I'm saying here in terms of the language I'm using.
Yes.
But if someone is concerned about that, you would argue that they've got a prejudice, right?
Yeah.
And arguably they could be racist. However, just having a conversation, I can't remember whether you had an example of I can't remember.
I was using the example of two of my daughters. One of my daughters went out
that was it.
With a black lad,
Yeah.
and he would come round and he would train with me, and we'd play football together, and we would have all the normal conversations, colour. And I know people, even now, when I'm talking, I'm thinking, I'm going to say colour doesn't matter, and people going, well, that's a typical thing for a white man to say. And it's like, I don't want to be second guessing.
No.
So I got on really well with this young lad.
Yeah.
End of.
Yeah.
And there would be times when we would be round the dinner table and having a meal, and the conversation would go like, if you two are married and you have kids, and my daughter would go, I hope our child doesn't have big ears like me, or I hope they're good at running, or I hope they're...
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything to do with race. It was two people that if you had... And I know when another daughter has had a boyfriend and you've had the similar conversations, and it was a white boyfriend going, if you two have a child, he's going to be blah, blah, blah. And you just look at... And that is a conversation that people have.
Yeah.
You know, what is the summation of our genes going to look like in the form of a baby?
Yeah.
If that was a witless remark, but it could have been just said, I don't know.
Yeah, but again, we weren't there in terms of, where there was concern or the nature of that. But I think the thing it then got, that wasn't really the point. The thing I kind of started to think about, which has been bothering me for probably years, and we've had it with Kamala Harris recently.
Yeah.
The first black female.
Yeah.
Although even you get the first female X, you get the first black X, and you get the first black female, and it's like,
and then the first transgender.
We've just had the International Women's Day, and he's like, well, those differences, or the first person, and everyone talks about, but we talked about Biden's age, and I wasn't making a comment about Biden's age. It was just he's older, therefore frailer. I wasn't. Yeah. I don't care how old the president is, but then it's the first over 60, over 70, over. Yeah. So age, gender. Race is constantly pointed out.
Yes.
The differences, those differences, which have ageism, sexism, racism wrapped around them, are constantly pointed out. Yes. Almost a precursor to every description of anybody on the main street. Anywhere you look.
Yes.
It's tiresome. Tiger Woods can't go anywhere without being the first black winner of the US Masters. Yeah. He can't go anywhere without him being reminded. Oh, yeah, sorry, thanks for reminding me. I didn't look in the mirror this morning.
It has no relevance.
It doesn't have any relevance, but everyone makes it relevant. And then when people kind of start, like we are here struggling to try and find the right words and not just have an open conversation about it, to make sure that we're not going to be picked up and slammed, not that anyone's listening, we're going to be picked up and slam dunk for getting our words wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
What a kind of life are we all living there? When it's like, well, you're just pointing differences out.
Yes.
Constantly.
You're accentuating the difference rather than... Yes. And then the whole...
That's why we're never going to get over it. We're never going to have... There's always going to be a problem because, I'd argue most mainstream media are constantly reminding us of the difference.
Yeah. And I think...
And we fall into that trap as well. They're the first one. It's like... It's not important.
But I think the trap we fall into, and I was just thinking now, and I hate the fact that I feel censored, and whether it's a true perception that I'm censored or not, but I'm totally aware of someone saying, well, that's easy for you to say in your position, blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying from my personal experience.
It's actually not easy. It's harder to say. Yeah, it's harder to have a discussion.
But there's two things I wanted, just based on what you said. Number one is, surely progress in terms of everybody's attitude to race is that we should be talking about it less, not more. That would be progress. It doesn't become...
Like I was talking about Rashford in his Twitter posts.
Yeah.
Can't remember whether I left that in or not.
Can't remember. Don't think so, no.
But every time he gets racially abused, live on Match of the Day, Gary Lineker takes his glasses off and goes, he's just responded to this bit of racism. We're all talking about it. Yeah. The idiots who are doing it, we're giving them a platform. But I didn't mean to interrupt. It was that kind of thing. We're constantly talking about the bullies.
Yeah. But we're almost talking about race when it isn't even a thing. That's the thing. It becomes overly important. Yeah. The second thing I was going to say was that, and this goes back to what you've just said then about, is that looking back to my life in, say, 1977, 1978, in Bristol, there were things that were happening. So, for example, I know when I was at football matches, I was involved as a passive observer in some ways, but in another way by a participant, of being in an atmosphere that was generally right wing and far right wing. National Front was very big. National Front was allowed a big platform. National Front used to infiltrate the football club, nearly every football club. I can remember people doing Nazi salutes at football. What I'm saying is that the progress has been made on those big things, the throwing of bananas onto the pitch, the abusive language, the horrible abuse of black players. And I'm not saying we haven't moved on.
No, you're right.
Those things have been centred upon, and people's awareness has been changed, as it has around slavery, because of people discussing it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, I don't think things should be hidden under the carpet, but it doesn't have to be a precursor that every single time we have a discussion, people are concerned about, not necessarily about offence, but just not having an open conversation. But it doesn't, as you say, it doesn't need to be every word is put in.
Someone's always waiting with a sniper's rifle, aren't they?
Yeah.
As soon as you step slightly out of line, say the wrong word. We all stumble, we all fumble with our words.
Yeah.
People haven't they?
But people are waiting for people to trip up.
Yeah, people have just got someone of colour the wrong way round.
Yes.
And they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're all over this, like, and they feel all, they didn't mean it. They're in a live interview, they've mixed their words up, and suddenly they're, you know what I mean? It's a really difficult place to be, isn't it?
But I think if you can't have open discussions, then you aren't going to make progress, because you're going to get caught up in the minutiae rather than the bigger.
But then you start to think everyone's whipping this up. It's not, like you said, it shouldn't be brushed under the carpet. Absolutely not. But it's finding its own kind of momentum, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all getting thrown into, like you said, the headlines based on we just made the point about the reporter asking stupid questions.
Yeah.
So then they're asking stupid questions to create ridiculous headlines, to get people looking at. If there isn't a frenzy around that, again back to the people's attention, no one's attention will be on all these crappy news websites, social or apps or websites or whatever. Even watching the TV.
Yeah. Well, going back to what
they're whipping up something that shouldn't even be a thing.
Exactly. That's the point. When I said afterwards, like jokingly, do you agree with children going up the chimney or blah 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 blah. That's what's happened, because the question, they felt comfortable about asking that. There's only one answer you could give. Even if you are racist, there's only one answer you can give.
Yeah.
But if that is the only question, and that is somehow accepted, that you ask that question, you have got to ask every other question, because you're basically saying, I now need to know your family's moral code on all these issues.
Yeah.
You need to deny all of these. Because once we've asked one question on race, we have to ask every other question.
Right. Or why do you feel trapped in the royal family, sir?
Yeah.
That'd be a relevant question from that interview.
Yeah.
But they chose to ask the race one. Why? Because that's the stir everyone wants to be reading about.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And the headline then comes out, and you see Prince William and racist in the same line.
Yeah. And
it gets misread.
Yeah, absolutely.
And some people have gone, just like sort of seeing the headline and going, oh, what? So he's involved in it. Do you know what I mean? It's stirring stuff up instead of trying to get along together.
Yes.
It's trying to create divisions so that we can all feel more offended about stuff, or more hurt, or, like you say, trying to catch people out.
Have you got any food, any recipes, any top tips?
So, two very, very quick top tips. One is, we haven't really talked about macros that much. We have mentioned them. So protein, carbohydrate and fat. I read someone who listed the whole number of things that people swear by. So there's intermittent fasting, and there's carnivores, and there's vegan, and everybody has a view. And there probably isn't any right answer for everything. You have to take what works for you. Yeah. And you've talked before, when we've been talking about fibre and allergies and things that work for you and then don't.
Yep.
And so I think when you put that out, I thought it's almost like our discussion on race. There's probably 3 recipes that's either people are going to go, oh, that's typical, I'm not going to eat steak. Or,
yeah.
So I just wanted to give a general one. One was, we mentioned the granola before, and I read someone the other day on Instagram who basically said, all these people having granola and porridge are just eating cake for breakfast. Right. And I thought, you're sort of right. If you had a flapjack and you broke it into pieces and covered it in milk and called it granola, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of, that's why I was reticent to go, oh, here's 3 really good recipes, because it's almost like when we're talking about supplements, every recipe is going to be different for different people.
Yeah.
But there's two things I was going to say. One is that the first meal of the day, I think a lot of people are having porridge, with, like a lot of Amelia's clients have porridge with chocolate and fruit, which is a form of flapjack, and granola is a form of flapjack, and muesli is a form of flapjack. So I think my sort of top tip on that was to have a bit of balance, because if you actually look in terms of a lot of European, I'm not even going to say breakfast, but their first meal of the day is quite often a protein rich. You often get the cheeses and the cold meats. And I was thinking that still hasn't really taken off in this country.
No.
I was saying about a TV program, Four in a Bed, that I like watching, and it's very rare that you'll get a sort of platter of cold meats and cheese, but it makes perfect sense. It's getting a nice, bit of protein in at the beginning of, your first meal of the day. So I think that was the sort of top tip, was that I would say a lot of people tend to go, this is what I have for breakfast. And you say, I have eggs, or I have cereal, or I have whatever. We don't do that for any other meals. We don't go, this is my lunch. I just have potatoes or a sandwich. You would have a range of things. And then in the evening, it becomes even bigger range. Most people would probably have 10, 12, 14 different meals. But somehow for breakfast, we become tied in that this is my breakfast. And I was just thinking, that's daft. And the point I was making is I can talk about the granola. It's very high in calories. So if you're on weight loss, it's not a good idea. It's got a healthy fat content, which makes it high because of the nuts. And I think most seeds are about 50% fat as well. So that's why I was thinking it's not really worth me going, here's a great recipe for granola, because it's only going to be right for certain people at certain times. Yeah. So I think the point I was making was, looking at your first meal of the day, I would say have some variety, have the same approach to your first meal of the day as you would. The meals. Yeah. And even as I'm thinking this, I love having, like this sort of platter of cold meats and cheese. I can't remember the last time I've had it. I think maybe when we went to Munich, we would have it in a hotel, and I don't have it now. So I'm not taking my own advice, but it's that bit around your first meal of the day can be a lot more adventurous than people are making it. Yeah. The other thing I think I was saying about macros is just the point of, I think the fact that so many macros are vilified. So people be going, should be low carb, high carb, low fat. I think it's, the thing I would say is what people are tending to do, this is sweeping generalization, is look at something and go, oh, that's zero fat, therefore that is, in inverted commas, good for me, or it'll help me to lose weight. The fat content per se isn't going to, it's going to be the calorie content. The other thing is, if fat is taken out of something, something has to be added to make it palatable. So a key example would be, and it's happening less now, but in the early days, very low fat yogurts have to have other stuff in them, or else people wouldn't. And quite often that was sugar that was used. So I think this idea of just thinking something's got 0% of something makes it healthier is a bit of a misnomer. So I think the thing about macros is just to understand what their roles are in the body. And I think the key one, and I had a discussion with someone this week, is that if you're doing weight training or strength training or a lot of cardio and you're breaking down muscle fibers for the body to repair them, the key takeaway from this is protein can do what carbohydrates and fat can do, but they can't do what protein can do. So if you're going to rebuild and repair, and that's the key word, repair your muscle fibers after expending energy during weightlifting or cardio activity, you do need protein. And I think when I look at what people are having, it's so tiny. And even the recommended daily amounts of protein that you get on the labels, it's pitifully low. So that's the one thing I would say to people is try and see how you can just exert a bit more protein into your diet if you are doing weight training and cardio work.
Cool. Some life hacks. So first one, bulldog clips. Yeah. Or binder clips, as they're called. If you've got kind of some unruly wires, or binders, wires on your kind of desk or table, put the bulldog clips on the edge of the table, and then use the silver clip bits to put your wires through, like your charger wires, so it holds them in place. So especially at the back of a desk when you can't always get to them, rather than dropping down the back. Mark, do you worry about your keys being on show to sticky-fingered burglars? Would you like somewhere to keep them safe? Don't you know?
No, I do.
What?
I really do want to know.
You do worry? Well, you do worry about the safety of your keys?
I worry for two reasons. Once I was burgled.
Oh, right. This is pertinent then.
Yeah.
Was it, I mean, that's not. That's
No,
pretty
the
bad.
reason-
It
the reason-
sounds like there's going to be another reason.
The reason I was laughing...
Is this close to home? Have you had your keys stolen from your house? Your car keys?
My daughter's tried to win £50 by sending a picture in to Take a Break magazine
Right.
and it was addressing the issue of keys.
Okay.
So they had one of those little tea stands where it's like little hooks and you put your cup, a cup stand.
Yeah.
So they took the cups off and hung keys on the hooks and said, this would be a great idea.
Right.
And it's no different to a box, but your keys are hung up.
Yeah.
But the key thing here is that after being burgled and then hearing that sometimes on some occasions the burglar would take the keys and drive the car off. So you just pick up this thing. So have I just pissed on your fireworks?
Not really. I have really no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
But here's a little tip.
Okay.
So out of sight, out of mind, this is really.
Yep.
If you get a picture frame that is quite deep in terms of its relief,
Yes.
you can hinge it at one side
Yeah.
rather than hang it. Just have one hinge or two hinges at the side.
Yeah.
So the picture opens up on the wall like a door, and you can hang your keys behind it. Then when you close the picture, your keys are hidden. So it's like a little kind of safe on the wall. Mark, how do you fold your socks? Do you fold your socks? Or do you kind of turn them all inside out and make a little kind of grenade out of them?
Make a grenade,
You absolute savage. Right, so thanks for Mary Kondo. Have you heard of Mary Kondo?
Yeah.
Her little tip is really good. I did this in my sock drawer. It's very good. So put your socks together, flatten them out, and visually cut them into quarters or fourths, and then fold them over in 3 folds. Mm-hmm. So they're nice and kind of thin. And then you just stack them all in a line in your sock drawer. It will change your life. Rather than just having a big pile of grenades, sock grenades.
Okay.
Right?
So you just fold your socks.
Yeah, like I've just said. Just do it, your life will change. Honestly, you like being tidy and squared away, don't you?
Yeah, in some elements. We had our red and white striped socks, didn't we?
Yeah, I've noticed you've got the blue and white ones on today.
No, but for TikTok.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah,
and then I sent you that thing.
You got sock. Yeah, you got sock related TikTok.
Yeah,
didn't you?
that was the second video I looked at. It was how to put on. It was a machine to help you put on socks.
Yeah,
it's not typical TikTok.
No. Have you got any home genies for me, Mark?
She's celebrating 2 years today.
What, been doing this for 2 years?
On this morning.
Is she celebrating it like, how the hell did I get this far?
She's going to make a Lego celebration trophy.
Yeah.
So just a couple of things. She did a Moroccan-style gazebo, like a taste of Marrakesh. And having been to Marrakesh...
That looks like it cost about £1,000. Proper job, that. It's not. She's not made it out of anything.
She hasn't. The gazebo she's bought, that was £300.
Right.
But the trimmings... Huh? So, can you see the bunting there? The orange bunting?
She's made some bunting, has she?
She cut...
For her £300 Moroccan
She cut
pergola.
Triangles out of Sainsbury's carrier bags.
Oh, what a legend. Right.
And you see the Moroccan table at the bottom?
Yeah, what's that made out of?
It's a palette that she painted.
Green.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What else have you got?
Do you see the cushions?
Yes.
They're the cushions from her sofa.
Right.
And she wrapped them in waterproof material and took them outside. This is sheer gold. I don't know why you're knocking her. I'll find one more. I'm just trying to find something that you'll...
Like?
I didn't quite get this one. I'm going to share it with you. So there's the photograph. It's a door.
With a hole in it. Is that a mirror?
No, it's glass.
She's put a hole... Okay, yeah, it's a door, but with a big glass pane in the middle of it.
Yeah. And do you know what's on the other side of the door?
Looks like another room.
Yeah.
Right.
It's her toilet.
Right. Oh, right. So she put a plain glass pane...
in the middle of the door.
On the toilet door.
Yeah.
Okay, does she want everyone looking at her doing a...
I love this loo with a view. Don't worry, there is a blind you can pull down. And I thought that's maybe making work.
No shit.
That you put... Yeah.
Like she's
you wouldn't without the blind. No.
She just got to have a cup of tea in the garden, yet bought a £300 pergola, cut a pallet down to size and painted it, and took the cushions off her sofa and covered them in material where she's just going to have to take the material off, then put them back. But her husband's probably going, hold on, where my cushions gone? And sat on the sofa and the wood's gone through his arse, hasn't it? He's gone, what the hell's going on here?
He's probably going, where's the middle of my door gone?
Yeah.
She's put glass in the middle of the door.
He's walked in, all kind of sleepy in the middle of the night, sat down for a shit and gone, what is that?
Yeah. And then his 3 kids.
And everyone's looking at him. Go.
So you can. There is a blind so you can pull down, but I love seeing through to the gorgeous tiles, so I couldn't bring myself to frost the glass.
Clearly got too much time on her hands, hasn't she? That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far and thanks for listening. Give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at I'mFinecast and send your feedback and ideas to imfinecast@gmail.com. Please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend or send them a link or a screenshot or whatever you feel is appropriate. In the next episode, so personality types. Mark's finally settled on his personality type for this week. So we'll have a look at what that is. So we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.